Welcome back to the Paul and Saul show, your weekly dose of local news, analysis, and stories, and just me giving my opinions because Christopher's got to say it straight and I can say whatever I want. But we bring you all matters of Niceville, Valpo, and Blue Water Bay, and we even sprinkle in some Walton County from time to time. So,
That's
Christopher,
right. And
break it down for us, man.
so, Paul, here's the thing, man, is have you ever seen the Key and Peele skit, Obama's Anger Translator?
Of course, I've seen that one.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Paul Schoberg is Christopher Saul's anger translator. So I may not be able to say it, but I can smile shrewdly and not say anything while you say stuff.
Oh, there we go. That works.
Right on. Well, this week we have a couple of stories and then a lot of stuff to look forward to. So the first things first, and I'm so excited about this one, is the new American Airlines flight to Miami. And I can't believe I'm saying I'm excited about an American Airlines flight, but here we are. Direct service from Valparaiso to Miami. It's going to be very exciting for me because I want to go exploring in Latin America.
Okay. I mean, I guess that works. I have more opinions on that. Do we want to do
Tell me
that?
why.
Okay. I mean, listen, I think it's fantastic. It's really hard to fly anywhere else in Florida out of VPS. It just doesn't happen historically. And so, yeah, we get access to a lot more international flights now. We can go see those other beaches that are supposed to be beautiful and amazing without having to take like 3 planes to get there. So, super stoked about this. I hope it stays around. I fly American Airlines probably like once every 6 to 8 weeks for work. And so I got some miles built up. I would love to take my wife somewhere nice on American Airlines through Miami.
You're right. There's a lot of intrastate flights that have tried and failed from VPS in the past. The most recent I can think of is like back when I was at the county, we did this big unveiling for Silver Airlines, now
Mhm.
defunct,
Yep.
that had like Embraer super turbo props that flew from here to Orlando. Pensacola's had a flight to Miami for a while. I think Panama City does not have anything. I hope it does stick around because, yeah, I want to go to see my host family in Paraguay from when I was an exchange student. I want to go and see Buenos Aires and experience winter in the summer because I don't know if you've noticed, but it's like an oven outside.
It's stifling hot lately. I think the heat index is 110 today.
Speaking of heat indexes and things that are stifling hot, we have a racism allegation story that is not quite wrapped up because I am on word, I think like 2,500, a follow up to the story we're going to talk about today. The fire chief, David Lanier, was suspended without pay for a week, given a letter of reprimand or whatever the equivalent therein for a city government is. I've not heard of one. And also has to take sensitivity training. Firefighters came out accusing him of using the N word. And so now here we are, where I've got the report finally after a week. There's like a redaction of like 2 sentences. So I don't know why it took him 4 days to redact it, but okay. And the information therein is not heartening.
Yeah, Christopher, I mean, in 2025, I just feel like this is something that we should be done with. People should know better in a professional setting, especially. I mean, you shouldn't say it ever, but in a professional setting, especially, uh, I think uh, I think Valparaiso's stance on it and how they handled it was piss poor, man. Like I'm just not happy about it, and like I think like I'm not a person that I like giving people second chances when they deserve it, but this is one of those things, man. You just can't do it. And then you pair that with like everything that's going on with the fire department and just sort of like he's not doing a great job anyway. So why do we need to keep holding on to this guy? This is probably the hardest stance I've ever taken on the Paul and Saul show. Like I don't understand. I don't understand why we're keeping the guy around.
The thing you need to know is that this report outlines three basic incidents. One being a something that took place inside of a fire truck, where somebody might have said the N word. The chief might have said the N word. The jury is, I don't want to say out on that, but leans heavily toward it. A second incident that took place involving a hiring decision with a black potential firefighter where the word was brought up. And then a third incident, kind of abstract, but we'll get into it as I get that story more put together. There's a lot of that. There's also training allegations, deficiencies in training allegations. There's, you name it, ultimately led the investigator on this story, Valparaiso Police Lieutenant Craig Toney, to say, like, hey, this happened, and they violated, or he violated specifically, the employee handbook. He also noted that the whistleblowers violated the employee handbook by talking to yours truly.
Well, this is a perfect time to remind everyone who's watching. Sign up for the newsletter,
Mhm.
midbaynews.com/newsletter. And don't forget to support the show because Christopher's doing the work to give you the updates on the stories and to dig super deep. So support Midbay News and this show through midbaynews.com/donate. And if you do that on a recurring basis, we're going to put you in
I
a
get blood pressure meds.
besides that, you get access to a private Facebook group where we're in there talking about future stories. And we might even take an idea that you have and give and make a story out of it as well. So
That's
Midbay
exactly.
News /donate.
Well, if you need legal expertise that you can trust, maybe perhaps like some of these firefighters in this story that we've been talking about, you should talk to Lisa Patel. She's based here in Niceville, Florida. The Patel Law Firm has over 20 years of transactional experience specializing in taxation, estate planning, wills and trusts, and business law. You can go to lyp-law.com to get her expertise on what you need in the wills and trust game, because I mean, all of us are going to die, and it'd probably be best for our survivors if we had a plan in place. So, if you want to talk to somebody like the lead attorney at this firm, Lisa Y. Schwartz Patel, she has, of course, her JD, her MBA, and her master's in legal expertise from the University of Miami. She helps to guide individuals, families, and businesses through their tax filings, estate plans, corporate setups, and probate. lyp-law.com is the place you're going to want to go for that. All right. And looking at the week ahead, announcing our football show, it's just a month away from kickoff. August
Crazy.
22nd is the first football game of the season for the FHSAA, and that means all your favorites are going to be playing. Unfortunately, Niceville is away at Lincoln the first week of the year. That's going to be a barn burner of a game for so many different reasons. Lots of local exciting games as well. Another district rival for Niceville, Gulf Breeze, will be heading to South Walton, so we'll get a taste to see if Gulf Breeze is actually going to show up to play football this year. Sorry, Dolphins. And
Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Milton will be hosting the Crestview Bulldogs. Both of those teams will be playing Niceville as well if you're a Niceville-centric boggy. And we'll be covering those games to make sure that you know what's going on. You know how the opponents are doing. For example, until about a month and a half ago, I thought that Niceville would just kind of granted beat Milton by 80. And as the weeks have gone on, that number has decreased until, I'm not kidding you, Paul, Milton might be okay this year.
Well, I mean, we're going to find out that first week, right? August 22nd, you're going to be at the Crestview at Milton game and Gulf Breeze at South Walton covering those games. And we're going to find out really quickly.
Yeah, and as a bonus, at about 4:30 Central Time, we're going to be having our first of our weekly live football pre-cap shows sponsored by Final Approach Irrigation. Hunter Brock of Final Approach will be there along with a rotating cast of characters who know everything there is to know about high school football. Talking to Joshua Wilson from FloridaHSFootball.com. He's probably going to come on the show a couple of times, have a couple of booster club presidents on to talk about their teams. Do you have any games that just off the top of your head you're circling, especially Niceville games, that you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to that one?
I mean, I try to go to all the Niceville home games. I think it's interesting that we're away so often early in the season. So we're going to have some tests really early in the season, being away from home. I think we're the highest ranked local team
Absolutely.
in the state, and I'm not 100% sure we deserve it. We'll see. So that'll be interesting.
There's a good chance that we do deserve it. I think there are a lot of question marks that need to be answered by that Lincoln game. Niceville is currently ranked by Max Preps as the number 18 team, regardless of classification in the state of Florida. Lincoln, I believe, is in I think it's 33. So I don't know how much of a difference between 18 and 33 there is, but I would guess it's less than a touchdown. And so I would say if Niceville is not even odds, they may be given a point or two by the odds makers bookies over there in the A quad of the Niceville High School. It's going to be a tough game, that first game. I'm very high on Milton this year, relatively speaking. I'm not saying they're going to win 10 games or anything, but they could win 6. Looking at the trifecta of Freeport, South Walton, and Walton to see who's going to really be competing with Catholic for that district title. And I think Destin High School is going to be pretty good this year. They have a lot of kids that are moving with the now that we're in the, you know how people talk about like the post-Christian era of the Western world? I think we're in like the post like kids play 4 years at one school era. And so, you have kids moving from Niceville to Destin or from Fort Walton to Destin, kids moving from Destin to Choctaw and from Choctaw to Destin. It's all crapshoot until the rosters are finalized. And so there's a non-zero chance that the team that we see right now as we're going into the beginning of fall practice is going to be different for any of these teams. And
Yeah, I think Niceville's got an interesting challenge because we had a coach for a long, long time, and then now we've had what, 2 new coaches in the last 5 years,
Mhm.
something like that. You're absolutely right. You have one down season, or it's perceived that you're not coaching properly, and it's the coach's fault that it's a down season, and all of a sudden your best players are leaving for other local schools.
Yeah, so I mean, like Richard Morgan is not in the hot seat by any means, but I mean, there are already a lot of eyes watching to see how this first game against Lincoln's going to go. I think, if he loses this game by a touchdown, I mean, that's not unexpected. Lincoln's a very good team. I think if they lose it by 40, there might be a problem.
Yeah, it's got to
And
pass the
so,
eye test a little bit, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's probably going to be the biggest game that we're going to be watching remotely this week. Again, Baker could be anything this year. Baker has Matt Brunson back from OP, and he's led the Gators to multiple state titles. So that could be a quick turnaround as well. Well, if you want to have more information weekly, midbaynews.com/newsletter. We put out 2 newsletters a week. And if you sign up and give a recurring donation, we give you a bonus newsletter that gives you a sneak peek at everything that's going on around the Emerald Coast all week. But that's what we got for this segment. And coming up next, Paul Schoberg, are
Me.
doing the interview this week. Yes, sir. So tell us in 2 sentences what it's about, and then I'm going to pitch to this ad.
Fantastic. Yeah, I had the opportunity to actually interview a really good friend of mine, Sean Foster, who just made a career change from one bank to another. And so we talked to him briefly about what it's like to grow up around here and be a professional around here and to sort of climb the corporate ladder. A lot of people think that you have to leave this area to be successful. And Sean is a perfect example of someone who grew up here. You can stay here, you can be successful. So enjoy my interview with Sean Foster.
Well, before you talk to Sean, I want to tell you about my buddy and yours, Paul, Steve Shutt. I mean, quickly say one nice thing about Steve Shutt. I'm sure his ear is pressed to the door here at the Movement Mortgage Studios. So let him have it.
Well, I personally love Steve Shutt. He's been a friend of mine for a long time, but he's got, great hair, and I'm a little jealous about that.
And he's got mortgage superpowers.
Yes.
He was talking this week about somebody that kind of went with like a lock, stock, and barrel mega Walmart-ish style mortgage broker, and they could have lost hundreds of dollars a month on a transaction. And he got him in here and did the small operation boutique mortgage lending service that we've all come to expect from a guy like Steve, and saved this guy a ton of money, even though I guess apparently his fees were higher than this cut rate guy at the outset. The person that he helped saved lots of money almost immediately.
Here's what you got to know about Steve and Movement Mortgage. They have over 400 reviews, so you don't even have to take our word for it. And they have a 4.98 rating. So we could espouse all we want forever and ever and talk about our good friend, but the proof is in the reviews.
Yeah, and I also think 498 is probably the best that you actually want to do, because if you start getting like a 5-star review over 400 reviews, those are Saddam Hussein numbers. And 498 to me says like, hey, this guy's just really, really good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
here is your interview with Sean.
Mid-Bay News family, it's Paul from the Paul and Saul show, and I've got a great one for you today because I am honored to be able to talk to a friend of mine, Sean Foster, who's at United Fidelity Bank. And why Sean is awesome is because he's a local boy. He grew up in Fort Walton Beach. He bounced around after college, but he went to college here locally as well, and he has risen through the ranks in various banking institutions to build a career and a life here. And that sounds awesome just from a professional perspective. But Sean has a wonderful family as well. He's a father of two, and he outkicked his coverage big time with his wife, and he's got a beautiful wife at home as well. And so, Sean, welcome to the show. This is awesome to be able to get to talk to you. And
Absolutely.
hoping you can share with us a little bit, a little bit about your background and then how you got into banking. And then we'll talk about where you're at now.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. Definitely, being from here, I got stuck in the tourist trap and retail and just went through that through college, did that. But what it, kind of taught me a lot about was, customer service. And I think that's where I kind of excel at is customer service. So I did that stint with like retail, the restaurants and retail. And then a buddy of mine's wife comes into literally my retail store and was like, "Hey, we got a position at a bank." And I'm like, "Banking? Me in a suit, tie?" I mean, it's sure, let's try it. I was looking for 9 to 5, looking for a little bit more structure in my life. My wife was going 9 to 5. I was still working late nights and things like that. I said, sure, let's do it. And I fell in love with it. I've been in the business for 18 years, all capacities. So, I understand the retail world. I understand the commercial world. I even did mortgages for a little while, and just the vast amount of people that I've met through banking is just, it's just been awesome, and getting to know those people personally, and becoming friends, so it's been great to me. I really enjoy it.
So, Sean, I think the common thread that I know about your career and your life is just building authentic relationships. And you sort of mentioned it in your origin story about banking, moving out of retail and into banking was based on a relationship and a friendship. Can you talk about how building important relationships is to not only your business but just to the community that you're involved in?
Absolutely. Relationships, and it's cliche that a lot of people say it. And relationships are everything. Relationships I've had with people help me in my personal life. It's helped me in my business life. It's broken down some of the barriers. Organizations that I'm involved with, they're like, I never would have thought. They're like, wow, Sean, you've really the impact that you've had on these organizations and the people that you don't know, and maybe they might not even know that you've helped. It's been awesome, and I don't do well with that, but I got a little of it last night through an organization that I through Calm, and I'm like, people don't know what they don't know. So when you get in a relationship with somebody, it's like now you get a little piece of them and you learn from them. I mean, I can't tell you how much I've learned, for someone like you and other people in some of the groups that we're in. Without those relationships, you can't build a business almost. And it's also kind of weird. People think, oh, you're in a bank, your business is banking. I count money all day or whatever like that. I'm like, no, I'm here to meet the next person. Let's talk about what you're going through and how I can maybe help you or how maybe you can help me. Relationships are the backbone of everything. It makes business go well. People want to do business with someone who's authentic and just gets you the time to get to know them. And that's where one of my friends always calls me, "Sean, you're in the perfect position right now. You're a chameleon. You do well in those settings. You can, whether it's someone who wears a suit and tie every day or a kid, opening their first bank account. Love those. Let's get you started. Let's do the check-in. Let's do the savings, just talking through them about banking. Because I mean, even my own wife, is like, things like that I take for granted in banking. I'm like, how come you don't know that? Wait, I'm the banker. How come I didn't teach her that? Things like that. So relationships is everything though, for sure.
That's awesome. I think one of the great things about your life and career is really is the authentic relationships, but also you live a life of service. And I know you volunteer for A Bed for Me and ECF and Calm, and those are all local groups that do great things for our community. And thank you for your willingness to give back to those organizations and provide your expertise to them. I know that they're super proud of you and the help that you provided them. So talk to us a little bit. I know that we've done banking together, and that you've supported a lot of the real estate projects that I'm working on. But recently, you made a move to United Fidelity Bank, and so would love to hear about the services and what you're looking to do at United Fidelity Bank.
Absolutely. So again, been in, banking, 18 years, 14 of that, which in my eyes is almost unheard of, and it was my first bank. I spent at a large institution banking style. Through the recent years, I've gone to kind of small, I kind of like to say boutique style banking, or, um, just local style of banking. Each one of them had local style, but through my transition each time, it's kind of honing in on what I like to do, and that's create partnerships, you know, live the culture and just engage. What we do now, that's what we do. We do well with nonprofits. We really reach out to them, try to help them in any way, engage with them. I mean, each one of us serve on at least 3 to 4 boards here with organizations that we help out, long-term relationships, and sometimes they turn into business. It's the old, way of just getting out in the community, being relatable to those people, and then creating business from that. And really, and what does that business look like? I mean, right now we're in, Ed just said, we're kind of in wonky terms, it's times. Um, you know, ha- Everybody's kind of trying to figure. Everybody thought 2025 was just going to be this gangbuster of a year, you know, and and really in the banking world, it's been really is almost the answer to a lot of it is, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. So, right now we're just staying with old school tradition, just be there, be at places. So when they have questions, we can provide knowledge. A lot of the, things that we go to in the community is just so we can gather knowledge, economists that we're having at some roundtables, some other organizations that we're doing and volunteering for, just allowing us to, settle some people's mind a little bit in the banking, and just create relationships. We want to be your bank through this time and for the rest of your life, not just for this one transaction. We want to be the guy that you can go to, whether you do the transaction with me. I still want to be your banker that you go to first and say, Sean, hey, what do you think about this deal? This is the deal that I'm persuading. Maybe, I don't even mind, how do they structure these deals? How do you go about, getting the best deal from the bank, and would your bank be interested in it? That's normally the next question, because after you provide a benefit, they want to do a little bit of business with you. And if I can't help you with that right now, or it's something that we might not do, then let's talk about it. And then I can guarantee I can, refer you to somebody that can, if we can't do the business. So really, we're just looking to engage with the community, be a part of their business in any way I can, and at least have a conversation, because everybody knows I love to talk.
Absolutely. And we've shared some sushi and a couple of brown liquor beverages as well.
Yeah, every once in a
But
while.
yeah, but I think what you said was an absolute great point is, Sean, you're in our community, you're part of our community. You attend churches and non-for-profits and local watering holes and restaurants that are in this community. And you're someone who's visible, and you're there if people need you, whether they're running a business, whether they're running a non-for-profit, whether they just need standard checking and savings. Sean can help you out with all that stuff. And if there's services that his bank doesn't provide, just like he said, he's got the connections to help you find the right place for you to land. And so I hope you guys will consider talking to Sean for any of your banking needs, and we'll make sure that we connect you with Sean. Sean, what's the best way for our viewers and our listeners to connect with you?
As always, for almost 18 years, I give out my personal cell phone number. I have a bank phone number, but don't call me on it. It's even on my cards. But definitely give me a call, 850-187711. You can email me at sean.foster@unitedfidelity.com. And that's Sean, SHAUN. So glad to help in any way.
Awesome. And you've been a great friend of the show. Thank you for your support to Mid-Bay News and the Paul and Saul show. And like you said, if you need help with any sort of banking, he's there for you. He's your guy. He'll meet you at any place you want to meet, and get you the services that you need. And lastly, he's going to give me a hat. He's going to send me a United Fidelity bank hat
Working on
so
it.
that I can wear it on the Paul and Saul show.
I'm working on it. I had to go almost get a logo myself and go get the dang hat made myself. I'm trying, literally. I have it. So it's on my list, bud.
Fantastic. Well, God bless you, Sean. God bless all of our viewers.
Foster. As always, Paul, you're 1 for 1 on interviews. Absolute banger. Let's talk about our hats.
We should. We got some good hats on today. I especially like yours. I'm jealous, but rumor has you have one for me. So
No need to be jealous, my
yes,
broski.
yeah,
I've got you a bonus noggin toboggan.
that's
All
awesome.
right.
It's awesome.
So
I can't wait to rock the boggy hat. But
talk to Tori over at Boggy850. I saw this on the interwebs as I was perusing, and I was like, we need those immediately. So I reached out to her, said, hey, need this. She said, yeah, we've actually started a brand, Boggy850, and we are trying to promote it. And I was like, that's awesome. Can I buy a hat? And she was like, no, you can't. I was like, I'm actually going to need to go ahead and buy it. And so we purchased them to support local businesses because that's what we about out here. Purchased two because my boy's Paul's head can't be chilly.
that's right.
Can't have that,
I need that hat.
especially when football season hits, postseason where Niceville's going to be. All right. You gotta be ready with the BOGGY. I don't know if I pointed that the right way.
It works. It's a great hat. And I have a pretty awesome hat too. So,
Indeed.
the city of Defuniak could not be outdone by the city of Niceville. So thank you to Defuniak Springs for watching our show and sending me a hat. So this is the logo for Defuniak. And Defuniak is a great place. I don't know how it's sort of like a secret gem in the area. Like they've got this great lake at Christmas time with Christmas lights around it that you can take your family to. There's a couple really nice restaurants in kind of their historic downtown area. I
Let's
mean,
talk about like the architecture because I don't want to be like an architecture nerd, but it's all like Victorian era, not all of it, but many houses around Lake Defuniak, one of only two circular lakes on Earth, both of them
it's
in
like
Florida.
perfectly round.
Yeah, and I should say naturally circular, because there are, of course, artificial circular lakes, but this one is nearly a perfect circle. And around it are Victorian era houses that were built by people that were aligned with the Chautauqua Society, a group in New York of a bunch of Methodists who were coming down here to proselytize the word. They built the logo, the inside of the logo of Defuniak Springs. That is the Chautauqua Brotherhood Hall, I believe is what it is called. That's where they had their meetings and decided how to best impact the world for change, for positive good. So a lot of history in Defuniak Springs, a lot of things to learn, named after Frederick Defuniak. That's the other thing I should tell you. An Italian Civil War hero who also fought for the Confederacy. So, little good, little bad. Anyway,
I just want to thank the city of Defuniak Springs for giving me this hat. I think it's really cool. I like the patch on the side. It's awesome.
yeah, and I think it's awesome. And thanks to you guys for making it happen. And coming up on Midbay News, we have a first episode of our deep dive podcast. So this is something that Colin Bester of Midbay News and I have been working on for a while. We felt like there wasn't a really good deep dive into big stories where we just like take all of the information that we've compiled on stories that have been going for 2 or 3 years, put it together in one place, one source of truth on all of our reporting. So we've put together the deep dive podcast so that you guys have somewhere to go and hear this narrative and kind of, I don't want to say, and I want you to enjoy it because of its high production quality and learn something, but I don't want you to enjoy it in the Schadenfreude kind of way because our first episode is about the death of Roger Fortson. You'll probably remember Roger Fortson, the special operations airman who was shot and killed by a former Okaloosa County Sheriff's deputy while he was on duty. Eddie Duran, of course, is charged with a felony in that case. We take everything from what was going on before the shooting to the day of the shooting and what happened there that we know of and what has happened since. It's a pretty long episode, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It's good for long car rides, stuff like that, so that you can kind of get everything in chronological order, know what we know what the facts are, and be able to discuss it in an intelligent way. So I'm really excited about that. Paul, you going to listen to it?
Oh, absolutely. I just think it's super interesting because in a world where we spend a lot of time cutting up even this podcast into short snippets so that people can digest it quickly. And you have quick Facebook posts and social media posts. I think it's super important to provide the viewing audience and the news audience with a long form content as well. That's why podcasts are so popular, longer podcasts, long form podcasts. So I think this is a great idea, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So later this week, I believe Wednesday is when it drops. So this will drop similar time. And so It'll be on there. You just got to check it out. I will put a link into the show notes so that you guys can find it once it is live as well. And then next week, speaking of our deep dive, part of this deep dive story into Roger Fortson has to do with the comment section on the sheriff's office Facebook page. I can't
Yeah.
believe I have to say that, but here we are. So the sheriff's office, after what is known colloquially as the Acorn incident, which kind of leads into what happened with Roger Fortson, kind of some of the social and political stuff that was going around this that kind of it forms decision making. Sheriff's office decided that they were going to turn off their Facebook comments, which by itself, if the sheriff's office has a plan and says like we're turning this off because we can't monitor stuff like that, Florida law is pretty clear they can do that. But if they turn it off in response to something, that's not okay. And we have a lot of information, data, records requests that show that that's probably what happened in the wake of the Acorn incident. So we're going to lay out our information, our case as to like what has happened, why those comments were turned off, and whether or not that's okay. So that's going to be an interesting one. I would imagine it's not going to make everybody thrilled with me or us or with the sheriff. And so if you have strong opinions on this, we want to hear it. Put it in the comments either here or on that story when it comes out later this week. We've been working on this one since Colin came on board at the beginning of June. So this has been a long time coming, and we're excited to share that one with you as well.
Yeah. Speaking of comments, we should go to our own comments section, see what people are saying.
Absolutely. Woo. So, comment section. First one from Ariana. Thank you for unapologetically reporting the truth. This is the kind of factual news we need. I just threw that in there because I like to feel good about myself.
That's right. Pat yourself on the back for that one. No, that's good. That's good.
So Michael is talking a little bit about the Niceville football program and recruiting and the stuff that's changed in response to something that Garrick and I did on the Emerald Coast Sports Show last week. He said, exactly. Niceville went from a great program to elite once Fort Walton Beach athletes started transferring, a trend that started a decade ago en masse. But I think with dwindling 5-star level athletes and not being able to market big games, getting Power 5 conference D1 offers, they won't attract as many transfers. That and a sudden upheaval of what looked to be the next John Hicks is not a good look. One coach for 18 years, 2 in 5. Thoughts on that, Paul?
Yeah, that's sort of the comment that I made earlier as well. Like, I think it's challenging when you have a coach that's been around for a very long time, and then you had the heir apparent who did amazing, only to have him leave. And now we have our second new coach in 5 years. So I think it's going to be super interesting. And Coach Morgan has been pretty vocal about not recruiting outside of the Niceville area. And we'll see if that actually happens, or if it's something that he continues over time. But I know a lot of parents were super happy with that comment. They want their Niceville kids to be able to play for the Niceville football team. And oftentimes when you recruit outside, someone's taking somebody's spot.
Yeah. I'll say a couple. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say a couple of things on that. A lot of people are like, oh, they stole players from Fort Walton Beach or Choctaw or all this stuff. But a lot of these players are not coming from Fort Walton Beach and Choctaw in the last 5 years. They're coming from like smaller schools to the east. They're coming from far away. There was a kid a couple of years ago who came from like IMG, stayed for a year, and his name totally escapes me right now. He's a quarterback. So I wouldn't say it so much took away from other local area schools, but it did bring in a lot of talent. So don't hear me say that's not what happened. On the back end of that, Niceville has been to the playoffs 24 years in a row. If they go this year, it's a quarter century in a row of making the playoffs. And John Hicks has a lot to do with that. And so does Grant Thompson. And that's a hard legacy to live up to. And see what happened, boys. Finally,
I think Morgan can do it. I think Morgan can
Now,
do it. So we'll just have to see
why
how the
not
season.
believe?
Why
This
not?
guy hasn't given us a reason not to believe yet. So I am looking forward to the Lincoln game. I will say that.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right, I want to read the next one. The next one is from Jennifer, and she says, "Way to go, Deacon Avery. Excited to follow your success as a Chanticleer." And that's because Deacon Avery verbally committed to the Chanticleers to play baseball there.
I mean, Coastal was a NCAA World Series finalist. I mean, it was them and, oh gosh, I can't even tell you who won. That's how bad I am at this. Anyway, they made it all the way. They just fell a little bit short. And now we have a local boy who's going to go play for him next year in beautiful Conway, South Carolina. I love that I can remember where Coastal Carolina is, but I can't remember off the top of my head who won the NCAA World Series. I think it was LSU, but I could be wrong. That feels right.
Well,
That feels right.
Niceville has a habit of, every 7 to 10 years to turn out a major league player in some sort of sport.
Mhm. Reese
Obviously,
Hines.
yeah, Reese
It
Hines
was
is,
LSU, by the way. I was right.
yeah.
I feel good.
Okay, no, you're good there. But yeah, Reese Hines, who's in the Cincinnati Reds organization. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we're all cheering for Deacon Avery to be that next guy. And obviously, going to Coastal Carolina has a great history and a lot of recent success is a fantastic place to go. So I'm excited for him. And, in these day and ages where recruits are dropping and going to different schools all of a sudden, I hope he kind of sticks with Coastal Carolina. I think that would be a cool story.
I agree. Well, that, my friend, I believe is what we have for this week. So if you want more Paul and Saul, more local news, you know what you need to do. Midbaynews.com/newsletter gets you on that list immediately. Subscribing to this channel gets you that stuff even faster. And then you get to see our beautiful faces on the inside of your LED screens with frequency. And who doesn't want that?
That's all for this week's Paul and Saul show. We're proud to bring you the local news, and we're trying to provide some impact too. So hope you guys appreciate it. And as always, be nice, Niceville.